What's up guys, Learning with Rich here. In this video, let's continue our discussion about steel framing. So last video, we learned how to create our joist systems, and I also show you a quick way on tagging your floor plan using the tag all. Okay, if you still remember, on our floor plan, like for example on level 2, we went to the annotate tab, and then after that we use the tag all. Okay, so that's why we are able to tag our floor plan without any difficulty. Now this time around, so after learning how to add a joist system, so this is a very quick video on how to configure the beam joints. Okay, so if you will be checking out your modify tab on the geometry panel, so there's this tool that is called beam column joints. Okay, so it adjusts how beams and columns frame into one another. So by default, a longer beam is cut back from a shorter beam. So you use this tool to adjust the cut back for beams and columns. With a few exceptions, columns cut backs as beams. Okay, so let us learn how to use this one. Very, very easy. So in our case, we're going to use this to modify our beam joint. So let's say we want to create a mitered end or mitered joints for our beam. Okay, so to do that, so what I'm going to do here is on my floor plan, I'm going to create similar using this structural framing. So just click that, and then you type CS. Again, CS stands for create similar. So using the line tool, so I'm going to pick here. So make sure the chain here is checked. So we'll be able to create our frame continuously. Okay, so just need to click that, and then let's click this one. There you go. So after creating our framing, so I'm going back to my 3D view. Okay, and this is where we're going to do the exercise. So as you can see here, so let's say I want to change the join of this two frame here. So I want to create a mitered end. So what I'm going to do is from the modify tab, geometry panel, I'll be selecting the beam join, beam columns joints. All right, so just select that one. So once you select that, you will notice there will going to be here an arrow. You can actually see this as well in your 2D view, but I prefer to see it here on my 3D view. Okay, and then you will also notice that these lines here, the analytical lines here, becomes a half-tone color. Okay, you can play around. So if you click this arrow here, it will look like that. Okay, so you can click that. Okay, right. So you can play around. So you can click that arrow just like that. Okay, if you want to have a mitered, so you can click this, and then you will now be able to create a mitered end. So you can lock it. So I'm going to lock that. Miter lock. There you go. Okay, so that's now how our ends look like. Okay. All right, so let's try to do this as well here on the other side. So let me zoom in here. Again, I'm going to select the beam column joints. Just click that one. And then after that, again, the arrows will be showing for this one. So for this, you just need to select this arrow here. So click that to create a mitered joint there. And then after that, you can lock it. So there you have it. So basically, this is how you use your beam joints to create a miter ends for your framing. All right. So select modify to terminate the tool. And there you have it. Okay, so that's it for this quick exercise. So hopefully you learned something from this video. Thank you for watching. Have a nice day. What's up guys, Learning with Rich here. In this video, let's continue our discussion about our topic in floors and slabs. Okay, so in our last video, we learned how to create a slab on grade. So this time around, we're going to learn how to add a concrete floor with steel backing. Alright, so let's do this. So I'm going to open the project browser, and then I'll go to level 2. Go to the level 2, and then this is where we are going to create our concrete floor. Okay, so let's go to the structure tab, and then click the drop down arrow on our floor, and then look for the structural. Okay, so you will now be going to the Modify Create Floor Boundary Contextual tab. Okay, so let me just go first to the properties, because from here, if you click the drop down arrow, you'll be able to see the different types of floor that you can use. Okay, so as you can see, you can already select here the composite metal deck concrete floor, different types. So let's say, for example, I'll be using the 6 inches concrete. Okay, so I'll be using this one, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to edit this type. Okay, edit type to open the type properties dialog box. Okay, and then this is the preview of the concrete. This is the preview of the concrete, and then let me just duplicate this one to create a new type of this floor. So select duplicate. All right, so for this one, I'm just going to delete this, and then I'm just going to type concrete, let's say metal, or let's say steel. Okay, so I'll just type metal deck. Okay, so 6 inches concrete metal deck, and then I'll select here OK. So I now have another type of that floor. Now let us edit this one. So let's go to the edit, because as you can see, we only have one layer here, which is this big chunk of our structure, the 6 inches one. So as you can see in our function, if you click the drop down arrow here, you can see different types of function. And then this structural deck, I think this is one of the newest feature of Revit 2021. I don't know if I have this in Revit 2020, but I only see this at the moment here in Revit 2021. So you can check the Revit 2020 if you have the structural deck function there. But in other lower version of Revit, you will not be able to see the structural deck one function. Okay, I saw this on Revit 2021. Anyway, so we have different functions here. So let me just quickly describe to you what are these functions are. So the first one is structural structure one. So structure one, so this is the main layer that supports the remainder of the wall, floor, or the roof. Okay, so this is the layer that supports the remainder of the wall, floor, or the roof. So this is it looks like this is the main layer. Okay, and then you also have here substrate 2. So the substrate 2, so you select this function if you want to add a layer with a material such as like plywood or gypsum board, which acts as a foundation for another material. Okay, and then we also have the thermal air layer, the number 3. So this layer provides insulation and prevents air penetration. So you can select this function if you want to provide a layer that a layer for insulation and prevents air penetration. Now the other one here is finish 1. So typically this is the exterior layer function. Okay, and then the finish 2, number 5. This is the interior layer. Okay, this is the interior layer, and then we also have here the membrane layer. So a membrane that commonly prevents vapor penetration. So your membrane layer should have 0 thickness. So remember that. All right. And then the last one is if you want to add a layer with the structural deck functionality. All right. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to click the number 3 here, the number 3 layer, and then I'm going to insert another layer. All right. So let's add a new layer. So insert, click that one, and then there's the one. So let's click this one. Let's change that to structural deck. So that's the preview. You can zoom in. Okay. So that's the preview. And then you can also change here the material. So since, let's say this is a metal, so I'm going to click that ellipsis button. Did you see it? So this one, so this is the ellipsis button. So just click that one. And then you can type here metal and then look for metal deck material. So just select that one and then select your OK. There you go. Okay. So you don't need to specify here the thickness. Now you can also change here the deck profile of your metal deck, the structural deck. You can change that type. So you can click that. So let's say you can select this. So you can see the preview here. Right. So you can see the different deck profile. So I'll just use this one. And then I'll just select your OK. There you go. And then I'll select your OK. All right, then another thing that I'm going to do is I want to offset my floor or the floor that we'll be creating above the current level around 6 inches. Okay, I'm going to offset that. So I'm going to type 6 inches. There you go. And then here we will be creating the boundary line using peak supports. So let's select that one. And then I'm just going to pick first this boundary here, the vertical. So I'll just click one. Okay, you see that two lines here. So that's the direction of your floor deck. So that's the span direction. Okay, vertically like this. Okay, and then I'll just pick here. So you know the drill. So make sure the boundary is close, no intersection, no overlapping, and make sure you trim that. So just like this one. So make sure this two is close. So I'm going to use the trim extent corners. Just click that one. You can pick here one. You can pick here two. Okay, so here this one and then this one as well two. Okay, there you go. All right, what else? So this one is clear. All right, so this one we need to trim as well. 1, 2. What else? All right. So this side here. So 1, 2. Okay, so let's pick supports. So click that. All right, so it's clean. No overlapping, no intersection there. All right, so for this one, let's use the trim again. Let's select this 1. And where's the other end? Okay, 2. There you go. Okay. Okay. So after that, so we are now ready to finish this one. So select finish edit mode. Just click that. There you go. And then select your modify. Okay. And it also includes the span direction. This cross here. Okay. So that's the span direction symbol. So that's a one-way slab. So if you are confused with this one, you can always delete that if you want. Okay. So just select and then delete. Okay. Okay. So let's check this one out in our 3D view. So let's select 3D. And there you go. Okay. Okay. Oh, I think we have a problem here. So let's double check. Let's check the bottom here. All right. So as you can see, it didn't cut the floor here. We can't see anymore the opening that we have created last time here. So what I'm going to do is, see, I can't see the opening anymore. So I'm going to select the shaft opening that we created, which is this one. So this is the shaft opening. So click that cut. And then what you can do is you can actually drag that down, all the way down. Oh, I just pass it down. Okay, there you go. Oops, I think that's too much. So I undo. Okay, so what I'm just going to do is I'll just click again and then change the base offset. So like let's say 2 feet. Let's try 2 feet. Okay, apply, and then let's have a look again at the top. Okay, we still can't see it. Okay, let's select again. Oops, shaft opening 6 feet. Oh, it should be negative, right? So minus 2 feet. Okay, so let's try that one out. Okay, and then let's check out top view. There you go. So we can now see here the opening. Okay, so we just changed the base offset to minus 2 feet. All right, there you go. Okay, so what I'm going to do is going back to level 2. I'm going to, you can actually change here the detail level. I'm going to change that to let's say fine if you want. You can change that to fine. Okay, so that's the fine view. So that's the medium, and then here's the coarse. There you go. And let's try to create a section here. So I'm going to select this to create a section. So let's say I'll create a section here. Okay, and then let's click that and then right click, go to view. Okay, so you can zoom in here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to change the detail level. So let's change the detail level and then let's make it fine so we can see how it looks like here. So let me just zoom in. All right, so click, fine. There you go. Okay. So if it is too thick, the line weight is too thick, so you want to turn off the line weight, you can turn on the thin line. So click that to be able to see like that one. So you can change the view to, let's say, shaded view, and there you have it. Okay, there you go. So I'm going to select tile views, and there you have it. Okay, right. So that's it for creating our concrete floor with steel backing. So hopefully you learned something from this video. If you have any comments, questions, or suggestions, you can put it on the comment section below, and I'll get back to you as soon as I can. Thank you for watching. Have a nice day. What's up guys, Learning with Rich here. In this video, we are going to learn how to edit our slab to make it cantilever. Okay, so I'm going to show you how to edit our floor slab. Okay, so last video we have learned how to add a concrete floor with steel backing. So this time around, we are going to edit this concrete floor to make it cantilever slab edges. Okay, so let's get started. So what I'm going to do is open the project browser, level 2. So this is the floor that we are going to edit, the floor here. So I'm going to open the level 2, double click, and then after that, just zoom in and then make sure you select the 6 inches concrete with metal deck floor that we have created last time. So just click that. Okay, so once you select on the modify floors, shape editing, mode panel, so there is this edit boundary. All right, so I just need to select that one. There you go. So you are now again on the modify floors edit boundary. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to select this line here of this sketch, and then you will notice here there's an option. Okay, on the options bar you will see that there's an option for cantilevers if you want to make a cantilever for the concrete or for the steel that you have created last time. So in our case, we're going to modify the concrete. So we're going to make a cantilever for our concrete slab, not on the steel part, but on the concrete. So let's say, for example, I'm going to type here 6 inches. Okay, so 6. Let me just zoom in first. Oops. All right, so not 6 feet. Then just make it 0 again. Okay, so let me just zoom in first. All right, so here, and then I'm going to turn off the thin lines so I can see the line weight here clearly. So I'm going to select this line, and then for the concrete cantilever options, I'm going to change this. Let's say 6 inches. Enter. Okay, so as you can see, there's now the cantilever part. So we're not going to make it go inside, but I'm going to make it to the other side. So that's why instead of positive 6 inches, I'm going to make that 6 minus 6 inches. Okay, so I'm just going to copy this because this is the same value that I'm going to use for the rest of the lines or of the sketch. So I'm going to press enter. So it's now on the other side. So I'm just going to select this same procedure, change the concrete value to minus 6 inches. There you go. All right, so we do it here as well. So let's click that, change the value. There you go. Here, select, click. Okay, so if the location of the cantilever is on the wrong position, just make it positive or negative. All right, so just play around with the value. So just click that, change the concrete value. Let's say minus 6 inches. There you go. So it's correct. So same with this one here. So select, change the value, 6 inches. There you go. So for this one, change value. All right, now for this one, instead of minus 6 inches, I'm going to make it positive 6 inches. There you go. And then this one, 6 inches. There you go. Okay, so there's now our cantilever for the concrete. So after that, you just need to select your finish. And there you have it. Okay. So if you're going to check the section that we have created last time for this one, so I'm going to click this section, right click and go to view. Okay, just zoom in. So that's now the cantilever part of our concrete. So as you can see, the metal deck is at the center here. So it's top here, but this one is 6 inches. Okay, so let me just turn on the thin line so that it will show us the edges without the thickness or the line weight. So select that. There you go. And then let's measure. This one, measure between two references. So from here to here, that's your 6 inches. Okay, there you go. So basically, that's how you edit your floor slab. So if you want to make that cantilever just like that one, okay, so you just need to edit the floor. You can actually do it here as well on the 3D view. Just select that and then edit boundary if you want to edit your floor slab. All right, so there you have it. So hopefully you learned something from this video. If you have any comments, questions, or suggestions, you can put it on the comment section below and I'll get back to you as soon as I can. So once again, thank you for watching. Have a nice day. What's up guys, Learning with Rich here. In this video, we are going to continue our discussion about floors and slabs. So last video, we have learned how to make our slab edges cantilever. So this time around, we're going to learn how to create a slab edge. Okay, so a slab edge can be found on the structure tab, structure panel. You see the floor there, you click the drop down arrow, and then you can see there the slab edge. Okay, so it's slab edge. So you add slab edges by selecting the horizontal edges of the floors. You can place the slab edges in our 2D views, like the floor plan or the section views, or even in the 3D view. So what I'm going to do is, I'm going to select this floor here. So I select this floor and then I'm going to isolate that element. Okay, so isolate that element so that I'm concentrating on that one. Okay, and then after that I'm going to open the level 2, and then let's select here the tile views. Okay, so that we can see the level 2, the floor plan, as well as the 3D view. Okay, all right, so let's create our slab edge. So I'm going to select structure, floor, slab edge, to select that one. And then if you check the properties here, you click the drop down arrow. As you can see, I only have here one slab edge. Okay, I only have one slab edge here. So if I select the edit type here, so as you can see for the profile, I have here the 24 inches by 12 inches, which is the one that I have here. But currently, I only have one type here. So what I'm going to do is, let's say I want to create 60 inches by 12 inches. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to create that type. So here on my profile, I do not have here the slab edge thickened 60 inches by 12 inch. So that's why what I'm going to do is I'm going to create first that profile, and then after that I'm going to create the type. Okay, so how to add a profile like slab edge thickened 60 inches by 12 feet. So how are we going to do that? So you just need to cancel this one first, and then select modify to terminate the tool. So you need to go to the project browser, search for the families, and then after that you look for the profiles. Okay, so this one on the families, look for the profiles, expand that, and then look for the slab edge thickened. So just expand that. So these are the different slab edge thickened profiles. So I'm going to double click this one, the 24 inches by 12 inches. So just double click that, and then after that I'm going to duplicate this one because I want to create another type of that profile. So like what I've said, I want 60 inches by 12 inches. Okay, so it's like 5 feet by 1 foot, right? So I select here, okay. Now for the width, so instead of 2 feet, so I'm just going to make it 5 feet, okay? 5 feet and 1 feet. So that is 60 inches by 12 inches. So I'll just select here, okay. Okay, so as you can see, I now have that slab edge thickened profile. Now the next thing that I'm going to do is I go to the floor again, slab edge, and then go to the properties, edit type. Okay, so we duplicate this one. Okay, so we duplicate that. So thickened, let's make it 60 inches and then 12 inches. Okay, all right. And now for the profile, we just need to select the profile that we just created earlier, which is this one. Okay, there you go. And then for the material, so it's up to you. You can click that. Click the ellipsis button. Just click that one, and then you can select the material that you want for this. Okay, so let's say I'm going to type concrete. Okay, so concrete, like for example, concrete. So I'll just select concrete, and then I select OK. So there you go. So that's the material. And then you can put as many properties or identifications as you want here. So it's up to you, and then just select your OK. All right, now the next thing that you're going to do is to select the edges. Okay, so I'm just going to do it here on my 3D view. So I'm going to click the edges. So I click that. There you go. All right, you see that? So that's the slab edge. So let's click this one here. There you go. So let's click here. There you go. Okay. Let's click the edges. You can do this in the 3D view. You can do this on section view. You can do this on the floor plan view. So just click that. And this one. And there you go. So as you can see, it's now updated here as well on our 2D view, right? And then you just need to select your modify. Okay. So again, you can open up the section if you want to check out how it looks like. Okay. So select that one, right click, and then go to view. So just click that. And then where is the slab edge? There you go. So that's the slab edge that I just created. Right? Okay. So basically, that's how you add your slab edge to the project. Okay, so that's it. So you can open up the tile views again to see the section view. Maybe you can change that to shaded view. Okay, so there's your slab edge. So it highlights here as well. All right. Okay, there's your slab edge. Okay. All right. So again, that's it for this video. Hopefully you learned something from this video. If you have any comments, questions, or suggestions, you can put it on the comment section below, and I'll get back to you as soon as I can. Okay. Thank you for watching. Have a nice day. What's up guys, Learning with Rich here. In this video, we are now going to start our topic about reinforcing. So we are now done with the floors and slabs series of video. So this time around, let's start talking about reinforcing. So for the first topic, we're going to talk about how to create or how to add rebar to your foundation. Okay, this is a very simple video to help us how to create a rebar. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to select level 1 here. So just double click level 1. And then I'm just going to zoom into this area. So since I'm going to create just a simple typical foundation detail, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to select the section tool. Just click that and then go to the properties. You can change the type of the section that you'll be creating. Let's say I'm going to create a detail view, so I'll just select the detail. Okay, and then I'll just pick one point here and then another point here. There you go, and then modify. Okay, so let me just tidy up this by breaking this. Okay, I do not want to have an overlapping to the element. Okay, so I now have my section view here, so I'm going to double click the head here to open the detail view. There you go. And then let us change the scale here. So let's change the scale, let's say half of an inch to 1 foot. I think that one is fine. All right, so as you can see here, our slab edge and then our basic wall foundation, they are kind of overlapping. So I'm just going to modify that. Go to modify, and then let's use the join geometry. All right, so click the join geometry, and then let's join that one. So you click that, and then you click this one too. There you go. And then let's change the detail level. So instead of coarse, let's change that to fine. There you go. All right, and then you can select your modify. Now let us add here a couple of rebar. So how to do that? So you just need to go to the structure tab, reinforcement panel. You can see there the rebar, structural rebar. So it places planar, multiplanar, or freeform rebar. So just click that. Okay, so once you see this dialog box, just select OK. So we'll be able to select from the rebar shape browser the different types of the rebar that you want to place on your model. Okay, so in my case, I'll just use the basic one. So I'll just use this one, rebar shape 00, and then you can also change here the size of your rebar. Okay, right. So another thing that you need to consider is the placement. So I'm going to use the current work plane placement, and then for the placement orientation, I'll be using the parallel to work plane option. Okay, so that's what I'm going to use. So you just need to hover your pointer. So let me just put one here, and then let me put another one here, just a couple of rebar. So you get the idea. Okay, and then after that, you just need to select your modify. Okay, so there you go. Now another thing that I'm going to do for this detail, let's say for example I want to edit the profile of my wall foundation, this one. So let's say I want to create here a typical keyway. So for you to be able to modify the profile of this, you can go to the view tab, and then after that there's from the graphics you can see the cut profile. So you just need to select that one. Okay, and then after that from the options bar, so instead of face, you can use boundary between faces. So click that one, and then let's click this line here. Click that. Once you click, you will now be going to modify, create cut profile sketch. So we'll be using the line tool here, and then let me just pick a point here. So you can specify the distance. So let's say, for example, 3 inches. Okay, so I pick, and then after that, so you can specify the length and then the angle. So let's say 2 inches at 60 degrees. So I can just click here, and then after that, modify. Then you can mirror this to the other side. So you just need to click that, mirror pick axis. You click that, read. There you go. And then you just need to close it. So you just use the line again. You close this one to this one. Okay, there you go. And then after that, just select your finish. There you go. Okay, so that's how you create a keyway by editing the profile of your wall foundation. Okay, so one last thing, you might want to control the visibility of your rebar. You do not want to show this in every section. So let's say you only want to show this on your detail view. So what you can do is you can click the couple of the two rebar, click and then hold control to select the other one, and then you can specify the visibility here from the properties. You can modify the visibility. You can select edit, and then so we want to see that on our detail view. Okay, but I don't want to see that on my section 1 and then on my section 1 callout. Okay, so I only want to see that in my detail view. And then I'm going to select here OK, and then let's change the name of this view. Sorry, the name of this view is just detail 0. So let's change that. So let's put here typical foundation detail. Okay, of course you can add more details, but in my case I'll just use this detail. Apply, and there you have it. Okay, so basically that's a simple way to create your rebars, to add rebar to your model, and then edit the profile of your wall foundation to create a keyway. Okay, so hopefully you learned something from this video. If you have any comments, questions, or suggestions, you can put it on the comment section below, and I'll get back to you as soon as I can. Thank you for watching. Have a nice day. What's up guys, Learning with Rich here. In this video, we are going to talk about creating another rebar. This time around, we're going to put it on a perpendicular face. Okay, so last video, we have learned how to create a rebar on our simple foundation detail parallel to the face. But this time around, I'm going to show you how to create a rebar placing it perpendicular. All right, so let's do this one. Okay, so let us add some details on our model. So remember, this is the one that we have done last time. So we are still on the reinforcing topic. All right, so what I'm going to do is I'm going back to the structure tab, and then let's go to the rebar tool again, the structural rebar. So let's select that one. And then, all right, so from the rebar shape browser, again, I'll just be using the rebar shape 00. So last time we used here current work plane, and then we use here parallel to work plane. So this time, so let's try to use perpendicular to cover. Okay, so you still have other options here that you can use, but for the placement, I'm just going to use first perpendicular to cover. It plays perpendicular to work plane and perpendicular to the nearest cover reference. So I'm going to select this one. Okay, and then after that, you can also specify here the rebar set, the layout. So instead of single, so you can change this to fixed number, maximum spacing, number with spacing, and minimum clear spacing. So let's say, for example, I'll be using maximum spacing of, let's say, 1 foot. Okay, so maximum spacing of 1 foot. And then as you can see, I'm going to hover my pointer. So depending on how you move your pointer on the face or on our work plane, it shows you how it looks like. Okay, so if I'm going to move my pointer up, so it looks like this. So as you can see, Revit automatically spaced that maximum spacing of 1 foot, right? You see? Okay, now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to place it here. Okay, I'm just going to pick. There you go. And then after that, I just need to select your modify. Now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to change the size of this. So instead of number 4, so I'll just select that 3 bar. So from the type selector, I'm going to change that to, let's say, for example, 10. Number 10. Okay, so it's now too close to my rebar here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to select this. And then I'll just use the arrow on my keyboard to nudge it. All right, there you have it. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to copy this to the other side here. So I'm going to select that one, copy, and then I'm just going to pick here. And then I'm just going to place it here. There you go. And then select modify or escape a couple of times to terminate the tool. So again, I'll just select that, and then I'll just use my arrow on the keyboard to nudge it. Okay, there you go. So let's say, for example, I also want to add here in this area. Okay, so same procedure. So I'm going to select the structure tab, rebar. Okay, again, the rebar shape 0, 0. And I'll be using the same placement of perpendicular to cover. And then let's say I'll change the rebar set layout. So instead of single, a while ago I use the maximum spacing. So this time I'll use fixed number. So I select that one. And then you can specify here the fixed number of rebar that you want. So let's say, for example, let's say 4. Okay, and then as you can see, it will now show here 4 rebars, right? So it depends on the position of your pointer on how you will be able to place the rebar. So let's say I'll just place it one here. There you go, pick, and then just select your modify. Now I'm going to click that one, and then again I'll just change here the size. So let's say I'll use 8. Okay, you can play around. Okay, so there's a lot of options for you to be able to work around with your rebars. So this is just some of the example. Okay, now the next thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to select all the rebars that I have placed here. So I select all of that, hold control, click one rebar, and then hold control, and then select the other rebar, and then we can also control the visibility of that. So from the graphics on our instance properties, so I'm going to select edit, and then you can move the slider down, and then you can specify here where do you want to see this rebar. So let's say I only want to see that on the typical foundation, so I'll just uncheck this one and then this one only on my typical foundation. Okay, right? So if you want to see that in the 3D view, you can just check that on the 3D view, and then you can view it as solid like that. Okay, all right, and then I'll just select here OK. And there you have it. So basically, that's how you add your rebar in perpendicular position. Okay, so we have learned last time how to place it in parallel. So this time we have learned how to place it perpendicularly. All right. Okay, so that's it for this short video. On our next topic, we're going to talk about sketching our rebar. Okay, so thank you. Once again, if you have any questions, comments, or suggestions, you can put it on the comment section below, and I'll get back to you as soon as I can. Bye-bye. What's up, guys? Learning with Rich here. In this video, I'm going to teach you another way to create your rebar. Okay, so this time around, we're going to learn how to sketch it. Okay, so last video, we have learned how to create a rebar perpendicularly to the face. So this time around, we're going to add a rebar by sketching it. Okay, so let's do this. So same model that we are working on since day one. So what we are going to do is going to the structure. We're going to select again the rebar. So let's select the rebar. And then again, we will be using the 0, 0 rebar shape. Okay, and then by default, we are using the number 8. So what I'm going to do is instead of using the rebar option here or rebar tool, I'm going to select here sketch rebar. Okay, so I'm going to select the sketch rebar, and then after that you can read the next step here on the status bar. Okay, so once I select the sketch rebar, read the status bar. So what does it say? Pick host for rebar. So I want to host my rebar on my wall foundation, which is this one. So I'm going to pick the wall foundation. There you go, and then you will now see the options here on our model. Okay, so we now have the tools here to sketch, and then we also have the reinforcement panel as well as the workplane panel. Now for this one, what I'm going to do is I'm going to use the line tool. Okay, line tool, and then I'm going to chain that. So let's say I'm going to pick one here, pick. Okay, and then after that I'll just draw all the way down here, and then I'm going to pick another point here. And then I'm going to pick another point here. So notice that automatically Revit computes the radius there at the corner. You see this corner here? Once I move here, you can see the radius that it will be creating. So Revit automatically computes that based on the current type or size of the rebar that you are using, which is number 8 by default. So if I pick here to place that, and then I select here, modify to terminate it. So notice that if I change the rebar number here instead of 8, so let's say for example I use 6. So notice that automatically Revit will compute that. Okay? So let's say 10, see? So let's say for example I'll just choose 5, just like that. Okay? And then once you're done sketching your rebar, the next thing that you need to do is you just need to check that to finish edit mode. And there you have it. Okay, and then you just need to select modify here to terminate the tool. Okay, and then the next thing that what I'm going to do is, let's say I want that also to the other side. So I'm just going to mirror this. So by the way, I'm going to click this. I'll use the arrow on my keyboard to nudge it up and nudge to the right, for example, like that. Okay, so while the rebar is selected, I'm going to mirror that to the other side using mirror pick axis, and then I'm going to pick this as my mirror line. There you go, and then I select your modify. Now let me just pick this again and then just nudge it to the right. Okay, and then notice that you can also use this to adjust the height or to stretch it, right? Let's say I'm just going to pick somewhere here, and there you have it. Okay, so basically that's how you sketch your rebar. Now the next thing that I'm going to do, if you want to see this rebar in the 3D view, so what you can do is you can go to the view state visibility. Oh, you need to select it first. So let's select, and then hold control, select the other one here. Oops. There you go. Oh, no, not that. This one and then this one. So hold control. There you go. Okay, and then after that, you look for the view visibility states on the properties. Just click the edit, and then after that, you move the slider down. Just make sure I only want to see that on the typical foundation view. So I'm going to uncheck it on the section. Now, if you want to see this rebar in the 3D view, you can just check it on the 3D view. So which is this one. So check view, view as solid, and then okay, so that you can see this rebar in the 3D view. Okay, so for example, you just need to select both, hold control, and then you just go to selection box. Just click that, and there you have it. So you can now see there the rebar. Okay, so you can turn on the thin line so that it's not too thick. There you go. Okay, so basically that's what you do if you want to see that rebar in the 3D view. All right. Okay, there you go. So same if you want to see these rebars here. Let's say I click this one. So same procedure. You click that rebar, move the slider down, go to the view visibility states, and then check the 3D. Okay, and then you will now be able to see there. There you go. Okay. So basically that's how you do it. All right. So hopefully you learned something from this video, guys. If you have any comments, questions, or suggestions, you can put it in the comment section below, and I'll get back to you as soon as I can. Once again, thank you for watching. Have a nice day. What's up, guys? Learning with Rich here. In this video, we are going to continue our discussion about reinforcing. Okay, so last video we have learned how to sketch our rebar. So this time around, we are going to create an area reinforcing bar. Okay, so we are going to sketch it. So to do that, to start that, so what we are going to do is, let me just open the section first, which is this one. So there's my typical foundation. So we should be able to create our area reinforcement bar on our slab here. So I'm going to select tile views. Okay, so tile views. So I have my floor plan here, and I also have my detail view here. So I'm just going to zoom into this area. So our goal is to put our area reinforcement bar here. Okay, so to start that, so let's go to the structure tab, and then from the reinforcement panel, you can see here area or structural area reinforcement. So it sketches the boundary of an area to populate with rebar. Okay, so let's do this one. So I'm going to select structural area reinforcement, and then according to our status bar here, pick structural floor or wall for area reinforcement. So in our case, we're going to highlight our floor here, which is this one. So you can see as I hover my pointer, it highlights the floor. So you click that, and then you are now on the modify create reinforcement boundary. So we will be using rebar line, and then these are the tools that we use to sketch the boundary of our reinforcement bar. Okay, now before we create that, let us have a look at the properties. So these are the properties that you can change when you create or when you place your area reinforcement rebar. Okay, so we are going to place our top major bar. So that's the type, it's number 4. So basically I'm just going to use this default setting. So we will be placing it at the top, and then we're going to place it also at the major. Again, you have an option if you do not want to include the bottom part of the slab. So if you only want to have the top portion, so you just need to check that and then uncheck the bottom here. But in my case, I'm just going to check both the bottom and then the top option for our reinforcement rebar. Okay, I'm just going to use these default settings here. Again, if you have time, you can play around this layers here, the options here, and then the construction here. Okay, so I'm just going to use these settings. Now, I'm going to select here the peak lines tool, and then after that, I'm going to pick now the edges or the boundary of the rebar or the area reinforcement rebar that I will be creating. Okay, so I'm going to select this one. There you go. I'm going to select this line here. Okay, so let me just delete this one. Just going to redo again the boundary because I accidentally picked one point. So I'm going to select pick lines, rebar line, and then I'm going to pick this line here. So that's my first line, and then this denotes here the direction of your rebar. Okay, I'm going to pick this one. I'm going to pick this. Okay, this one. Just pick the boundary. All right, now for this boundary here, I'm just going to create a boundary on that area, and then I'll be using the split element, or you can also type SL, and then let us pick this one. Now make sure you select delete inner segment here, so we can pick this one here, and then I'm going to pick one here. There you go. Okay, right? So once you created the area or the boundary of your reinforcement, so you just need to select your finish, and automatically once you select finish, take a look now here. So we just now created our rebars. There you go, there you go, there you go, right? So we have the top and then we also have the bottom. And on our floor plan here, it also automatically creates here the symbol, okay, which is this one. So when you click that, that is the area reinforcement symbol, okay? So I'm just going to delete that. I don't need that area symbol as well as the span direction, which is this one. Okay, so I select that. The span direction one-way slab, I'm just going to delete that. But don't worry, you still have the tag here. So I'm going to click that, and then I'm just going to place it here. All right, there you go. Okay. And you will notice as you hover your pointer, it highlights the rebars, right? See? Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to click one of the rebar. Okay, I'm just going to click one of the rebar, and then I'm going to right click, and then let's select all instances visible in our view. Okay, so as you can see, I just selected 172 structural rebar. The reason why I select that is that, let's say I want to see this rebar in my 3D view. So while it is still selected, look for the view visibility states, select the edit, and then after that, you just check the 3D view here. Just select that, view unobscured, and view as solid, so that we can see this rebar in 3D view. Just select OK. Alright, so once you're done, you can just go now to your 3D view, and then there you go. So as you can see, there's now our rebar. Okay, so there's the detail level fine. So there's now our rebar. So you can turn on the section box. Click the section box from the properties. Do not select any object, and then from the properties, look for the section box. So there's the section box. So I can select that, and then I can control the cropping. So let's say I'm just going to move it somewhere here, and then orbit. So there you go. Right. So there's your rebar, your reinforcement, your area reinforcement rebar. Okay, if you want to see the whole thing, just uncheck the section box again. And there you have it. Okay, right? Okay, so basically that's how you create your area reinforcing rebar. So it's not that difficult. So hopefully you learned something from this video. If you have any comments, questions, or suggestions, you can put it on the comment section below and I'll get back to you as soon as I can. Thank you for watching. Have a nice day. What's up guys, Learning with Rich here. In this video, we are now going to talk about steel brace frames. Okay, so after learning how to create some reinforcing, like creating our rebar, so let us now move on to our topic about steel brace frame. Okay, so now the first topic that we are going to talk about is, I'm going to teach you how to create a brace frame. But before that, so let us learn first how to create a brace frame elevation. So basically it's just an elevation, so where we are going to create our brace frame. Alright, so let's do this. So on our model, so what I'm going to do is, I'm going to open my level 2 here. Okay, so my level 2, and then let's say for example, this is where I want to create my brace frame, this area here, and then after that I'm going to mirror that to the other side there. Okay, now for me to be able to create a brace frame, so I need to create first a brace elevation. So how to do that? So from the view tab, okay, so since we want to create an elevation, so you click the drop down arrow of the elevation, and then after that you select framing elevation. So it creates a framing elevation to show vertical bracing. Alright, so I'm going to select this, and then as you can see here in our status bar, it says click on a grid or named reference plane to place the elevation. Okay, so in our case we will be using, or we will be clicking a grid. Okay, so in our case it's on the grid F. So as you can see, as I hover my pointer to grid F, it shows me the elevation. So if I'm going to hover my pointer here to this grid, it shows me the elevation. Okay, so basically Revit will place the work plane on that grid F. Okay, so I'm going to click this to place the elevation. There you go. And then after that, I select modify. Now the next thing that I'm going to do is from the project browser, let me look at the framing elevation that I just created. So there you go. So I'm just going to expand this. I'll just change the name of this. Okay. So instead of elevation 1-A, so I'll just rename this. So I'll just put here brace frame elevation. Okay. Enter. There you go. So that's the name. I think it's quite big, so I don't want all caps. So brace frame elevation. Okay. Enter. There you go. Okay, and then let's open that one. So let's double click to open it. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is, let's say for example, I want to create the frame here, the brace on my level 3, between level 2 and level 3. So what I'm going to do is, let me change the detail level here. So I click that. Instead of coarse, I'm going to make it fine so I can see the details of my structural model. There you go. See? And then you can also change the visual style, let's say to shaded view, that one. And then let's select the boundary here. So I only want to do it on between, let's say 2 and 3. That's the one. And then let's adjust the levels, tidy up. There you go. Okay, so I want to create here. Okay, so now after creating your brace frame elevation, the next thing that we're going to do, let us now start adding a brace frame. So it's simple. So from the structure tab, you will see from the structure panel here the brace. Okay, so you just need to click the brace, and then from the properties, you can now select from here the type of structural framing that you want. So let's say for example, I'll be using this one, HSS 8x8 by 3/8. Okay, so I select that. There you go. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to snap at the end point of this frame that we have here. You see that color green line? That's the analytical line. So I'm going to click that end point. So let's say I want here. Well, let's say I'll start here. Okay, so I'll do it here. So the end point of that analytical beam, and then I'm going to snap there at the midpoint of that analytical beam. All right. So basically that's the cat back. But if you're going to click this, as you can see, it extends to the analytical endpoint here of your beam. But there's the cat back. So same here. Okay. So let's do it. So let's do that again. So I'm going to select the brace here. There you go. And then again, I'm gonna look at the midpoint. Okay. And then after that, so let's click here the endpoint. All right. There you go. Right. Okay. So there's the cat back. Okay, I think I must have picked the wrong location, so I'll click this again. So I delete this brace. So I click from there, and then I click here. Why it doesn't look like? So brace, snap, that. So there's the snap back, cut back. So I'll just adjust it one, and then let's say I'm just going to create another one here vertically. So I'm going to select the brace. Let's snap at the midpoint, and then let's snap at the midpoint. There you go. Okay, so I just wonder why is it there not the same at the other side. So let me try again. So I delete this couple of brace. I select the brace here. So let me click that endpoint, and then I'll snap at the midpoint there. Okay, and then I'll try here, and I'll try here. SE, yeah. So SE for the snap endpoint. So click. There you have it. Okay, so probably I'll just snap at the wrong allocation here. So for you to be able to correctly snap, so you just type SE for the snap endpoint. So let me show you again. So I'm going to select both. I'm going to delete. Okay, so I select the brace. Now, make sure you can see that color green line there. So if you can see it, then snap. So you just need to click that, okay? And then you snap at the midpoint here. Now, for this other side here, I'm going to escape once, okay? And then, there you go. As you can see, it disappears. The green line disappears. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to hover my pointer somewhere here, and then I'm going to type SE, so it will snap to the endpoint of that analytical line. So once you see it, it snaps. So you click that, and then after that, you may now click the midpoint here. And there you go. Okay, so that's the example of the brace. So that's how you create the brace. Okay. Now the next thing that what I'm going to do is going back to the 3D view. All right. So let us mirror this to the other side. Okay. So let's mirror this. So from the, I think it would be better if I select this 3 first. I'm going to click that, hold control, and then click the other 2 brace here. And then let's go to the level 2. go. So while the three framings are selected, so I'm going to select a mirror draw axis, and then after that, let's mirror that to the other side. So this is going to be my midpoint here. So I click here, one, and then I click another point here, two. There you go. Modify. Let's check out the 3D view. Let's check out the other side, and boom. All right. So it's not that difficult. So basically, that's how you create your brace frame. Okay, so hopefully you learned something from this video, how to create your brace frame elevation and then your brace frame. Okay, so hopefully you learned something from this one. If you have any comments, questions, or suggestions, you can put it on the comment section below and I'll get back to you in a second. So once again, thank you for watching, guys. Have a nice day. What's up, guys? Learning with Rich here. In this video, I'm going to teach you how to create structural frame cassettes. Okay, so a quick Google search, a cassette, to those of you who don't have any ideas, this is how it looks like. So something like this. See this image here? So it's like a rib. So you can actually do this also in small frames of machineries, like you put a welded part on that area in a small machineries. So in structural, so we call this cassette. Okay, so some term in mechanical they call this rib. Okay, so I'm going to teach you how to create this cassette by using in-place family. All right, so let's get started. So what we're going to do, let's continue our discussion, or the same model that we are using last time. So after we create our brace frame elevation, so let's say for example, so this is where we are going to create our frame cassette. Okay, so how to do that? So using an in-place family from the structure tab, so I'm going to select here the component drop down, so there's the model in place. Okay, so we are going to categorize this family as a structural stiffener. Okay, so that is what we are going to do. So I select that and then I'll just select here OK. All right, so let's say for example for this one, I'm just going to call this frame cassette. Okay, and then I'll just select here OK. All right, so now since we are on the F reference plane, so for you to be able to check that, you can actually select set here, and then you will see that you are on the grid F. So your work plane is on the grid F, so nothing to worry about. So we're just checking it. Okay, so the next thing that we are going to do is we're just going to use here an extrusion. So from the create tab, so there's the forms panel, so I'm going to select here the extrusion. So we'll be creating now our cassette. So let's say I want to create somewhere here. Okay, so I'm just going to use the line tool. Okay, and then I'm just going to grab one here. I'm going to pick this. Okay, you can actually, I'm not going to specify an exact distance here. I'm just going to show you how to do it using your extrusion. So if you want to be specific on the size, you may do so. Okay, so let's say for example, that's the first part of my cassette. So I'm going to mirror this to the other side. Again, if you want to make it as exact size, you can actually do that. So in my case, I'm just going to select this one, and then after that, I'm going to mirror this to the other side using the mirror peak axis. So let's select that one, and then after that, I'm going to select this vertical line here to mirror to the other side, just like that. And then let's say for example, I want to create another one here. So let's say I want to have another rectangular shape of cassette. So I'm going to select that, and then I'm going to go ahead and select one here. Okay, if you want to place that at the center or the midpoint, so I can select that and then move, snap to the midpoint, and then let's click there, right? Okay, so that's our another cassette. So let's say, for example, I also want to place one here. So let's say I want to have a circular, so I'm going to use arc. So I click start and radius. So I'm going to click one here. I click another point here. So let's say 3 feet. I'm going to pick one here, and then I'll just use line here. So line, and then click. There you go. Okay, then I select this, move. Where's my midpoint? Okay, so that's the center. Okay, there you go. Okay, now the next thing that we need to specify here is the thickness. So you can specify the thickness here. So let's say, for example, minus 1/2 inch, 1/2 inch, and 1/2 inch, 1/2 inch, enter. Okay, and then just need to select your OK. So select OK, and then select the check here. And there you have it. So basically using in-place family. So we can specify the material here. So you just need to select that, specify the material. So just click that button here, the browse button, and then you can select steel. So let's say I'll be using this one, any steel, and then I select OK, and then finish the model. Okay, so I select finish model, and there you go. Okay, you can go to the 3D view. So let's go check the 3D view and see how it looks now. There you go. Okay, so using in-place family. Okay, so you can do that. Again, you can be creative here by specifying the exact dimension. Okay, so I just created it without an exact dimension, but of course you can also do that. All right, so there you have it. So hopefully you learned something from this video. If you have any comments, questions, or suggestions, you can put it on the comment section below, and I'll get back to you as soon as I can. Thank you for watching. Have a nice day. Here in this video, we are now going to wrap up our discussion about the steel brace frames. Okay, so on last video, we have learned how to add brace frame cassettes. So this time around, for this quick video, I'm going to show you first how to edit the plan view symbology for the brace. Just a quick one, and then after that, I'm going to teach you how to create a brace frame sheet. Okay, so let's move to our exercise. So what I'm going to do is going to my level 2. So you will notice here, you have a couple of lines here. So this one and then this one here. This is actually a brace. So if I'm going to click that, you go to the property, that is actually the brace frame that we created last time. All right, so in the upper view on our level 2, so this is how it looks like. So if I'm going to level 3, so this is how it looks like, right? So let me just drag first this brace frame elevation away. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to teach you how to change the symbology of your brace frame on the plan view. Okay, so on level 2 it looks like this, on level 3 it looks like this. Okay, so basically in the 3D view, if you still remember, this is how we did that, right? Now going back to level 2, what I'm going to do to change the symbology of the plan view for the brace frame, so what you can do is you just need to go to the structure, and then you go to the settings here, structural settings, so you click that. And then after that, you just need to, let's say on the symbolic representation settings. So what you can do is you can change the plan representation. So instead of parallel line, so you click drop down arrow, and then you can actually change that with line with angle. Okay, so you just need to click that, and then here the show brace above. So this is now how the symbol we're gonna show, and then this show brace below. So this is how the symbol show. Okay, and then there's a kicker brace symbol. Okay, so that's all. So you can actually change here some options on the load cases. I'm not going to discuss this one. Okay, so you can go check this one out because in my case I don't actually use this one. Okay, so I just go here and then you can change the brace symbol here. Okay, so let's select now OK. And there you go, you see? So if I go to level 3, so this is how it looks like. All right, so that's how you modify the plan view symbology for your brace frame. Okay, now the next thing that we are going to do after we create our brace, after we create the gazette, if you still remember, we created this gazette here last time using in-place family. So now I'm going to teach you how to create a sheet. So we're going to put details of our brace inside the sheet. Okay, so let me just go first to the brace frame elevation that we created last time. All right, and then after that, I'm going to create a call out here. So let's say I want to have a detail view for this portion, this frame, sorry. So what I'm going to do is go into the view tab. I'm going to create a call out first. So it creates a rectangular call out in the view. So usually we use this for detailing. So I'm going to use rectangle here. So just click that. So I'm going to pick from here, and then I'm going to pick from here. There you go. All right. So the reason there's no detail here on our call out bubble is that the view created on this call out is not yet inserted inside the sheet. Okay, so that's why it's empty. But later on, you'll be able to see that after we place the call out that we created, it will populate the details here. Okay, so now hover up your pointer. It says that the name is brace frame elevation callout 1. Okay, views elevation brace frame elevation callout 1, which is this one. Okay, okay, and then you can actually change this detail or the name. So let's say I'm going to right click that and then rename, and then let's change this one. So let's say this is my brace frame callout. Enter, and then let's open up this one. Let's double click, and there you have it. Okay, so this is now your callout view. Of course, you can change here the scale if you want. So let's say I'm going to change this to 1 inch to 1 foot. Oh, I think it's too big. Okay, so how about half inch? Okay, so half inch to 1 foot. Okay, so something like this. Okay, so that's now our brace frame callout. And then we can actually create a separate callout in our callout. Okay, so same procedure. So you just need to go to the view. Let's create a callout here, callout. So let's say I'm going to create a callout to this portion here. Okay, you can click the callout. See the 3 dots there. You can actually drag that. You can bend that like that. You can stretch that up. Okay, so it's up to you. Okay, so there's my first callout, and that's the callout that we just created. So let me create another callout. So let's say for this one, I want to create another one here. Okay, I want to create another one here. There you go. So I just need to tidy up that. Okay, something like that. Okay, again, you will notice the callout bubble is empty because these callouts that we have created, all of these callouts here is not yet inserted inside our properties. Okay, right. Okay, so let's do this. So let us now insert this inside the sheet. So let us create first a sheet. So go to the sheets here. So there's the sheets. So just right click that, new sheet. Okay, and then there's the title block. So we will be using this default title block here, and then I'm going to select your OK. There you go. So here's now our title block. Okay, so now the next thing that we're going to do is to drag inside this views that we created. So let's say this brace frame callout. I'm going to drag that and then I'm going to put it here. Okay, so this is my callout 1. I can put it on here. Callout 2. Then callout 3. Callout 4. Okay, so something like that. So again, if you want to change the scale of this, so no problem. Just need to select that. Go to properties here and then you can change the scale here. So let's say 3/4. So you will notice it will change. Okay, so let's say I select that, change the view scale 3/4. See, right? Okay. Now for this one, if you want to move your title bar separately, like for example, you want to move this up, so you need to select that separately. So click that, and then you can use the arrow on your keyboard, or you can just drag that. Okay. Now if you want to move your view, okay, you can click that, and then it will also move the callout name there. Okay. Okay. So if you want to resize the line here, you click the view, and then you will see that node, and then you'll be able to resize that. Okay, this one you need to click separately. You click, then you can change. Click, resize, like right here. There you go. Okay, so it's up to you. You can just arrange this simple exercise. 3/4 of an inch. There you go. Okay, so let's say for example you want to insert also the 3D view. So what you can do is you can go to the 3D view here. Go to the 3D view, and then you can select. Okay, select this brace, and then you go to the selection box here. This one, click that. There you go. So there's the one. So you can duplicate that. Duplicate, and then you can change the name. So for example, this is your brace frame. There you go. And then you go again to your sheet here, and then you drag the brace frame. Okay, change the scale. Okay, about 1 inch to 1 foot. And let me just move this up, this up. Oops. Okay, there you go. All right, so basically that's how you create a sheet. That's how you change the symbology of your plan view for the brace. and then that's how you create a callout view. All right. So if I go to the brace frame callout, you will now notice that it's now populated. You see the callout bubble, so it's now populated. So meaning to say this is a detail number 3, and then you can see that on sheet S.1. So you just check the project browser, look for sheet S.1. Oops, just rename this one. Sorry. Okay. Oops. So brace frame. All right. So just double click that. So that's our S.1 sheet, and then this is the detail number 3. So meaning this is that one. Okay. Oops. So there you go. Right. So hopefully you learned something for this video. That's all the topic for our steel brace frame. So on our next topic, we're going to talk about stairs, ramps, and slopes. Thank you for watching, guys. Have a nice day. Learning with Rich here. In this video, like what I've said last time, we are now going to talk about stairs, ramps, and slopes. Okay, so last few series of videos, we have talked about creating brace frames. Okay, so this time around, let's go to the topic of stairs, ramps, and slopes. Okay, so for the first topic, we are going to create stairs on our building. Okay, all right. So what we are going to do first is we're going to copy this floor that we have here on our second level up to the level 5 of this building. So to do that, instead of creating it manually by going to each floor and then using the floor tool, so instead of doing that, we're just going to use the copy tool. Okay, so how to use that? So what you can do is just select the floor. And then after that, from the clipboard, you can see here, copy to clipboard. Okay, so we're going to select that, click that, and then after that, from the paste drop down, you have an option here to align it to selected level. Okay, so you click align to selected levels, and then you just need to select here the level where you want to place that. So I'm going to select level 3, hold the shift, and then click up to level 5. So now that it's all highlighted, so you just need to select OK. And let's just wait. And there you have it. So we now have our floor. Now, we're going to create a floor here on our level 1, and then level 2 up to level 5. Okay, so to do that, let us go first to our, let's go to level 2. Okay, so let's check out first the elevation. Okay, so here, okay, so we're going to create from level 1 to level 2. Okay, but for this one, what I'm going to do is I'm going to select here level 2. I'll click level 2, and then I'm just going to zoom in here. Okay, so let's say this is the area I want to place the stair. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to select the stair. Okay, let me just go check again the elevation. Okay, so we have here like 12 feet, right? So 12 feet. So on on level 2, we have 11 feet and 6 inches, and then 23 feet 6 inches. All right, so let's do this. So I'll go to level 2. Okay, and then I'll select the stair. So I'm going to select the properties. As you can see, here's the property. So I'll just use this default one, the 7 inches max riser 11 grid. Okay, and then I'm going to put here an offset of, all right, 6 inches. Okay, so I'll just use this one. Now for the actual run width, I'm going to change this to 4 feet. Okay, so 4 feet. So let me just check my guide here. Okay, so this is going to be 4 feet. And then we're going to create from level 1 to level 2. So the reason why it starts on level 2 because we are on level 2. But even if you're on level 2, you can still create your stair on level 1. So you just need to change the base level to level 1 and then the top level to level 2. So from level 1 to level 2. And then for the top offset, I'm just going to add here 6 inches. Okay, so 6 inches, simple, enter. And then as you can see, this is automatically, it will recompute the desired stair height, which is 12 feet, okay, which is what we need. And then it also automatically change the desired number of risers, actual number of risers and actual riser height. So we are going to create 21 risers here. Okay, so now that it's all set up, so using the straight option here, so we're going to run it on left, run left, and then I'm going to zoom in here. Okay, see, on my grid D, so I'm going to start to that intersection. There you go. And then I'll create here 11 risers. So as you can see, I have 11 risers and 10 remaining. So that's all right. So I'm going to pick 11 risers and then align like that. So you pick here, and let's create another one here. Okay. All right. And then after that, let's go to the, let's finish it. So finish edit mode. And then the next thing that we're going to do, let's select our stair here. And then let's use the selection box to create a 3D view of that one. Okay. So what we're going to do for this one, okay, so since there's a space here, we're just going to move this to this part here so that there's no gap. Okay. So I'm going to select level 2. So while the stair is selected, we're also going to select the railing. So hold control and then select the railing as well here. Hold control. So make sure you have 3 selected here. Okay, so you just selected 2 railings and then 1 stair. Okay, so now that these elements are selected, so we are going to select here move, or you can also type MV. So I'm going to pick to this face here, and then I'm going to place it to this one. All right, there you go. So I select here modify to deselect the object, and then after that, let's go check it out again in the 3D view. So let's click the 3D, and you see now. Okay. Right? Okay, so let's create now our stair level 2 to level 3. So let's go to the level 2 again. So let's hide the stair that we have here. So I can actually use crossing selection like this. Just make sure you only select, oh, okay, so that's a problem because I selected a lot up here. So I'm going to select the stair, that one, hold control, select the railing, select this railing. Okay, and then after that, you just hide it. So I'm going to select temporary hide isolate, hide element. Okay, and then what will happen, it will hide that element. And then as you can see, you are now on the temporary hide isolate. So we are going to do the same procedure. So I'm going to select here the stair. Same setting, offset is minus 6 inches, 4 feet, run left. But for this one, for our level 3, on top level, we're going to add top offset of 6 inches. Okay, so 6 inches, enter. Right? Okay, and then after that, so let us now create our stair here. So now here it becomes 22. Okay, so I'm going to use this straight. Let's pick here. Again, I'm going to create here 11 risers. Here. There you go. and then let's finish this. Okay, so let's go. Let's select the stair. Oh, by the way, let's go back. Let's reset the temporary hide isolate. Select the stair, and then selection box. There you go. Okay, so there's our stair here, and then there's our stair. Okay, now what we are going to do for this one, so let me just turn off the section box here. So I'm going to do it in 3D view. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to select this stair, and then after that, so I'm going to select your select levels. Just click that, and then we are going to select levels 3, 4. Okay, 3, 4, 5. Okay, so connect levels is selected. So add stairs elements to connect levels in the multi-story stair on selected levels. Okay, so let's do this. So we are going to pick a level here. Okay, so we're going to pick. Let me go to the side view. Okay, so this is 1, 2, 3. So I'm going to select this. Hold Control, hold Control. Okay, and then just select finish. There you go. Right, and then select modify. So there you have it. So you just created your stairs. Okay. Right. Okay, so that's it for creating our stairs. So let's create a section. So let's try to create a section here. Section. See how it looks like. In section view, right click. There you go. Okay. ZA. All right. So that's it for this video. On our next one, we are going to create ramps, or let's say we're going to create lamps, ramps, and then we're going to add edit our stair. Okay, so hopefully you learned something from this video, guys. If you have any comments, questions, or suggestions, just put it on the comment section below, and I'll get back to you as soon as I can. Thank you for watching. Have a nice day. Create our stairs. So let us now learn how to create a simple ramp. Okay, so in this quick video, so that is what we are, or that is what I'm going to show you. So I'm just going to show you how to create a ramp. Okay, so we are already almost done on our building. So I'm going to open my level 1. This is where am I going to put the ramp. So let's say, for example, let's say I want to put it here. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to select the architecture tab. And then after that, let's look for the ramp. So from the circulation panel, you can see here the ramp. So just click that. And then after that, so just like when we created our stair, so we will be using the run option here, and then we'll be using the line tool. But before that, I'm going to check out the properties here. So I'm going to set first the base offset. So meaning to say from my current level, which is level 1, I want to specify the base offset, whether it be the base offset is below or above the level 1. So for this one, I'm just going to make it negative. Okay, so let's say, for example, minus 2 feet, minus 2 space, and then 6. So that means minus 2 feet and 6 inches. Okay, right. Okay, and then after that, so since I already specified here the base offset of this one, I'm going to change here the top level. So I'm going to put here level 1. Okay, so my base level is on level 1, but there's a base offset of minus 2 feet and 6 inches. Okay, and then there's the top level up to this level. Okay, and then you can actually change the other options here. So you can change the up text, down text, the label here, and then the width. Okay, so I'm just going to use the default here. Okay, and then let's start. So I'm going to move my pointer somewhere here. I'm going to click that, and then let's say up to, let me just make it 15 feet. Okay, so 15, enter. And then we will be moving here to this portion. Okay, so I'm going to pick, let's say, somewhere here, and then just move all the way here. Okay, so pick. There you go. Okay, so there's a 30 feet of inclined ramp created and 0 inches remaining. So that's good. So I'm now going to select here the check, finish edit mode, and there you go. Okay, so note that. Okay, so let me just click this down symbol. So I'm going to hover my pointer, press tab until it highlights the text. So I click. Okay, and then I'm just going to move it here. So it says that it's down here. Okay, down. Okay, so meaning from here. So this is up, going down. Okay, so if I check this one in the 3D view, so I click this and then select the selection box. So you will now see here your ramp. So as you can see here, it's the other way around. So the direction is wrong, but don't worry about that because you can always change that one. So for you to be able to change the direction of the ramp that you created, so what you need to do is you just need to go back again to your 3D view. Oh, I mean to the floor plan. So I'm going to select here my tile windows. Shortcut is WT. Okay, so I can see also the 3D here and then the floor plan here. So I'm going to select the ramp. And then if you look, take a look somewhere here, so there's a small arrow. So you can actually flip the stairs or the ramp up direction. Okay, so I'm going to click this and then take a look at the 3D here. Click, and you'll now see what happens, right? So it's now flipped to the correct direction. Okay, so in plan view, so let's say I'll create here a section. So there's my section. So I create a section here. Okay, that's my section. So right click the section and then go to view. So there's now my ramp there. So there's my ramp. Okay, so I created that from level 1, and then there's an offset of 2 feet by 6 inches. So to check that, I'm going to create a detail line. So select the annotate, just to show you the offset of 2 feet and 6 inches. So I'm going to select the detail line. So I'm going to pick here on level 1. I'm going to move that. I'll type 2 space 6, enter. Okay. Right. So there you go. So there's the offset. Right. Okay. So by the way, you can also change the type of your ramp here. So if I click this ramp, so I select the ramp. So I can go to the properties, and then I can go to the type properties. So these are the options that you can still change. You can change the maximum incline length, which is automatically computed, as well as the ramp maximum slope. But here, if you check out the construction, you can see the shape here. It says thick. So I'm going to change this to solid. So look what will happen on the ramp. So I click that, and then OK. And see what happens? So it becomes solid now. See? And then there's the offset of 2 feet by 6 inches. 2 feet and 6 inches. Okay. And if you want to change the material of your ramp, So what you can do is you just need to select the ramp, and then just go to the edit type, type properties. You can change the material here. So instead of concrete, you can click that button there, and then you can select, let's say, precast. So I select the precast, concrete precast, okay, and then okay. And there you have it. Okay. All right. So basically, that's how you create your simple ramp. There it goes. There's our ramp. So hopefully you learned something from this quick video. If you have any comments, questions, or suggestions, you can put it on the comment section below, and I'll get back to you as soon as I can. Thank you for watching. Have a nice day. What's up, guys? Learning with Rich here. In this video, let's continue our discussion about slabs, stairs, and ramps. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to teach you how to create sloping slabs. Okay, so last video we have learned how to create ramps, which is this one. So this time around, what we are going to do is we're going to cover our elevator shaft here. So we will be using here, let's say, sloping slab. So that is the roof that we will be using to close this one out. All right, so to start with, so we will be selecting here our penthouse level. Okay, so if I go to the elevation view, let's say on the south elevation view, as you can see here, so we created a level here for our penthouse, right? So that's the use of that level. So that is the level that we are going to use to create our sloping slab to cover our elevator shaft. Okay, so this will serve as the roof. Okay, so to start with, I'm going to select the structure tab, and then I'll just use structural floor, or you can also type SB. Okay, so I just click that one, and then after that, I'll just check the properties here. Okay, so I'm not going to put an offset level here. So instead of 6 inches, I'm just going to make it 0. And then so for this one, for the offset, what I'm going to do is I'm going to put an offset distance of, let's say 6 inches. Okay, so 6 inches. And then using peak walls, I'm going to hover my pointer to the side of the elevator shaft. And then once you see it highlights, press the tab once. Oops, sorry. So you just need to pan our drawing here first so that our drawing area is the active drawing. Okay, so just hover your pointer, do not pick, and then you press tab, and then you will notice it will highlight all the sides. So once you see it highlights, just click that to create the boundary of our floor. Okay, and then I'm just going to select here modify. Now the next thing that what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a slope. So let's say the slope is going to start from here, going here. Okay, so that's the use of the slope arrow here. Okay, so I'm going to select slope arrow, and then after that, so let's say I'm going to pick here, that midpoint, and then I'm going to pick also to this midpoint here. So I'm going to pick that, and then modify. Now I'm going to select that slope and then check out the properties here of that slope. So it says here specify. So instead of height at tail, wherein you can specify the offset at tail, and then you can specify the offset at head. So this is the tail, this is the head. So instead of using height at tail, I'm going to click the drop down arrow here and then select slope. Okay, so just click the slope, and then let's specify the slope here. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to change this, let's say 20 degrees. Okay, and then after that, I'm going to apply it, right? So I click this one, there you go. Okay, now the next thing that I'm going to do, just finish it. Okay, so I'll just select finish edit mode, so just click that, and there you go. Okay, so there's our floor. So the reason why it only shows this portion is because of the view range, okay, which you can change from the properties. You can just play around the view range here, okay, but we're not going to do that. So I'm just going to delete this one. You see this, the span direction symbol. I'm just going to delete that. I don't need that, so I'm just going to delete that. And then I'll check the 3D view here. Going back to the 3D view, and there you go. Okay, so there's now your sloping slab. Okay, now what I'm going to do here is I'm going to hover my pointer to my shaft opening, and I'm not going to select that opening. So I need to select all the walls, not the opening. So I'm going to press tab. So as you can see, it highlights the wall. I'm going to press the tab again. Okay, now it highlights all the wall. So I'm going to select that. And then after that, from the modify walls, there's an option here, attach top base. It attaches selected walls to selected or to model elements such as roofs and floors. So I'm going to select this one, and then this is where I'm going to attach that. So I'm going to click this, and there you go. Okay, and then modify to deselect the object, and there you go. Okay, so basically that's how you attach your wall to your roof there. And then that's how you create your sloping slab. Okay, so there you have it. So hopefully you learned something from this video. If you have any comments, questions, or suggestions, you can put it on the comment section below, and I'll get back to you guys as soon as I can. Right? So once again, thank you for watching. Have a nice day. What's up, guys? Learning with Rich here. In this video, I'm going to teach you how to create a material takeoff. Okay, so that's what we are going to do. So on my last live stream, so you have learned how to create a footing schedule and pier schedule. So this time around, let's create a material takeoff. Okay, so to start with, so from the schedules, I'm going to right click that. We know this already, and then last time we have used new schedule quantities. This time around, we will be using new material takeoff. Okay, now on our new material takeoff dialog box, so we will be using a multi category because there's a lot of different items that have the same material in it. Okay, but for our name, I'm just going to change this one, and then I'm going to call it, how about concrete material takeoff, or whatever name that you like. Okay, so I'm going to select this one. If you want to be specific, so you can just put there. So let's say you can put there a cast in place concrete. Okay, so it's up to you for the name. So I'm going to type this one. So that's the name, and then I select your OK. Right, now on my material takeoff properties on the fields, so what I would like to be included to the schedule is of course the family and type, and then after that, let's say I want to check out the material area, the material cost, if there's a cost that you want to add, so you can select material cost, and you can also add the volume. Okay, and then you can also add an area, cost, volume, what else? Name. Okay, so let's say material name. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to select this, I'm going to move it up, so move up, and then for the cost, I'm going to select the cost, and then I'm going to put it down. There you go. Right? And then after that, let's select OK, and let's see how it will look like. So let's select this one, And there you go. So there's our concrete material takeoff. So by the way, if I go to the schedules here, you can see that that is now our concrete material takeoff. Okay. Right. So what we are going to do here is let us just adjust this so we can see it. So obviously our concrete material takeoff is itemize every instance so that is selected on the sorting because it shows here a lot of materials down here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going back to the properties and then I'll try to select the filter, or I'm going to select the filter, and then here on the filter it says filter by. I'm going to click the drop down arrow. So I'm going to filter it by material name. Okay, so by material name. So I'm going to select this. I'm going to select material name, and then I'm going to oh, how about, oh yeah, so just material name, and then I click the drop down arrow. So I will be using here concrete cast in place gray. Okay, so I'm going to select that, and then I'm going to select OK. So this is the material that I would like to show here on my takeoff. Okay, so I'm going to select here OK, and there you go. See, so that's now the material name. Okay, so it's only concrete cast in place gray. Okay, now if you want to add the cost here, you can do so. You can add here, and what I would like to do is I'm going to select sorting and grouping. So let's say I'm going to sort it by how about family name. Okay, I'm going to sort it by family name. So I click the drop down arrow, I select family name, and then let's have a look at it, how it looks like. Okay, so it's now sorted by family and name, family type. Okay, so family and type. So as you can see, it's now alphabetically order based on family and type. Now, if I go back again to the sorting and grouping, I can actually add here a header. So let's see how it looks like if I add a header, and then I'm going to add a blank line. Click that one, and then I select here OK, and there you go. So there's the header, and then there is a blank line there. Okay, so I can still go to the sorting and grouping. How about if I uncheck the header and then let's say footer? Footer that includes the title, count, and totals. So let's say I'll select this one. I'll select OK. Let's see how it looks like. So there you go. So this is how it looks like. Okay, so there's the total. Okay, and let's just try how it looks like if I select here counts, totals only. So I select totals only, and then I select here OK. So there's no total yet. So I go to the sorting and grouping. I'm going to select here title, count, and totals, and then I include the grand totals here. Title, count, and totals. Okay, and then I select here OK. Notice that I'm still, I just leave the itemize every instance box checked. Okay, so I select here OK. There you go. Okay, and then the total now here is here below. That's the grand total. Now, if I want to see the total area and then the total volume, what I can do is, after sorting and grouping, I can go to the formatting. Okay, so formatting, I select edit type. All right, so I go to the material area, and then here on the field formatting, instead of no calculation, I'm going to select calculate totals. Same with volume, so I select here calculate totals. Okay, so if you have the material cost, you can also make material cost here, calculate total. Okay, so I'm just going to select here calculate totals, and there you go. And I want you to know also that if I click here, I can actually change the format unit. So if I click this one, so I can uncheck use project settings, and then I can change here the units. So let's say, for example, I want square meters, so I just select here square meters, 0 decimal places if you want. You can add a couple of decimal places. It depends on your standard. So that's the unit symbol, and then you can select here OK, and there you go. The same with the volume. So you can click the volume, you can check out the format here, and then you can uncheck that one, cubic feet. So instead of that, I'll use cubic meters. Okay, 2 decimal places, select OK. There you go. Okay, so there's a lot of things that you can do to customize your material takeoff. Like for example, I want to combine your material and volume, so I can just click this and drag up to the material, and then there's an option here, group. So I can select the group. I click that one, and there you go. So I can now type here a new name. So let's say, for example, this is going to be my volume. Okay, then enter, right? And then I can also highlight this guys here, and then I can change the shading. So I can select shading. So let's say I'm going to select here. How about this? Oh, not this one. So let's say, how about red? Okay. All right, so it's fine. I don't like this one. So shading. Okay, so how about this one? Oh, wait. So you highlight shading. How about this? All right. Okay, so it's up to you. You can just customize this one. Now, the next thing that we are going to do is we're now going to insert this inside the sheet. Okay, so let's say, for example, we are now okay on our material takeoff for our cast in place concrete. So what we are going to do from the project browser, so I'm going to right click the sheets here, and then I'm going to create a new sheet. Okay, so use the default title block, and then okay. There you go. So there's our title box. So if I expand this, I can just rename this one. Let me just delete the other sheets that is unused. Okay, so for this one, I'll just rename this. So let's say this is my sheet 102, and then I'll call this let's say concrete material takeoff. Okay, and I'll select OK. There you go. And then I'm just going to drag this inside here. So it's going to be a very long schedule. So I'm going to drag, and then I'm going to pick. There you go. And then select modify. Okay, so what I'm going to do here is let me just make it a single line first. So I'm going to click this, and then I'm just going to drag that. I just want a single line here. Okay, so same here. So maybe I'll just drag this. Same with this. Same with this. Okay, so just a single line. Oops. The material cost. There you go. Okay, and then I can click this, and then check this one out. You can actually break it and click that, and then it will break. Okay, and then I'll just drag this here. Oh, sorry. So I need to drag that inside the paper. There you go. Okay, so you can just select the schedule, and then you can use your arrow. Okay, so maybe I'm just going to change this color to gray. So I go to properties. Sorry, I select the schedule, and then let's go to properties, and then okay, let me double click that. Okay, and then let's drag this, and then I'll change the shading here, and then I'll just use this. Okay, there you go. Okay, so if I go now to the sheet, this is now how it looks like, right? Now, if you want to change, let's say for example, the font, or you want to increase the thickness of the line weight of the boundary, so what you can do is you can go back, you can select again the schedule or the takeoff, and then go to properties, change the appearance. So let's go to the appearance. So here, instead of thin lines, where the grid lines, these are the grid lines here, those lines on our schedule here. The outline is the outside of the outside line of our material takeoff, so you can check that one as well. So let's say for the outline, I'm going to make that wide line. So let's see what will happen. I select here, okay. And there you go. See, it's now wide lines. Just make sure your thin lines here is turned off, because if this is turned on, you will not be able to see the line weight. So just turn off your thin lines. Okay, so let me select that again. Let's go to the properties, appearance. So let's say for the grid lines, instead of thin lines, I'm going to make it medium lines. So select that, and then I select here OK. And let's see. There you go. So it's now medium line. Okay. All right, so basically that's how you create your material takeoff. So it's just like creating your footing schedule, your pier schedule. All right, so that's it for this simple exercise. So hopefully guys, you learned something from this video. If you have any comments, questions, or suggestions, you can put it on the comment section below, and I'll get back to you guys as soon as I can. All right, so once again, thank you for watching. Have a nice day.